Everyone mocked her for marrying a worthless cripple after being dumped. Before we continue, please remember to like, share and subscribe. The cafe was alive with the hum of conversation and the clinking of coffee cups, but for Mia, the noise was a distant echo, drowned out by the pounding of her heart. Across the table, Darren's face was cold, his words sharper than she had expected. "I'm done, Mia," he said, voice clipped and final. "I'm with someone else now. Someone better." His eyes didn't meet hers. Instead, they flicked to his phone, where pictures of a glamorous influencer smiled back at him. Mia felt the world tilt beneath her. The man she had loved, the one she trusted, was leaving her for someone who seemed perfect in every way. But what stung most wasn't just the breakup, it was the way Darren said it, like she was a mistake to be corrected. Around them, the cafe's usual warmth turned icy. A few patrons glanced their way, and whispers began to weave through the air like a slow, creeping fog. "Did you see Mia? She's with that crippled guy now, right? How did she end up with him after Darren? I heard Darren dumped her for some influencer, figures." The words weren't loud, but they landed like stones, heavy and unrelenting. Mia's friends had warned her about Darren's arrogance, but she never expected the public humiliation that followed. When she left the cafe that day, the mocking stares seemed to cling to her like shadows. Strangers passed with knowing smirks, and even old acquaintances cast doubtful looks, as if her life had suddenly become a tragic comedy. She wandered the streets, the laughter and sneers echoing in her mind. They all thought she had hit rock bottom, that marrying Logan, a man with visible scars and a wheelchair, was the final proof that she had settled. But what they didn't see was the strength growing quietly inside her, a resolve born from pain and defiance. That night, Mia sat alone in her tiny apartment, her heart bruised but not broken. She replayed Darren's words, but this time, she didn't let them define her. Instead, she whispered to herself that worth wasn't measured by someone else's approval or money. She would find her own path, even if the world chose to laugh. The heartbreak was only the beginning. Behind the whispers and judgment lay a story no one expected, a story of love, resilience, and an unexpected rise that would soon silence every cruel voice. Mia didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change forever, and Darren's cruel words would become nothing more than distant echoes fading into the past. Mia pushed open the heavy door of the community center, the familiar scent of worn wood and freshly brewed coffee greeting her like an old friend. She had come here to volunteer, seeking a quiet refuge from the whirlwind of her life, the breakup, the whispers, the loneliness. The center was a sanctuary where people gathered not for wealth or status, but for simple connection and kindness. It was here that she first saw him. Logan sat near the far corner, his wheelchair angled slightly toward the window. His hands rested gently on his lap, the skin marked with faded scars, each one a story untold. His gaze was steady but soft, watching the rain slide down the glass with a quiet patience. There was something about him that immediately caught Mia's attention, not the wheelchair or the scars, but the calm strength in his presence. Curious, Mia approached slowly, unsure if her presence would be welcome. Logan looked up and offered a small smile, one that reached his eyes and made the world seem a little less heavy. "Hi," she said, her voice a mix of hesitation and warmth. "Hi," he replied, his voice calm and measured. "I don't think we've met." "I'm Mia," she said, extending her hand. He took it gently, his grip firm yet kind. "Logan," he answered. Their first conversation was awkward but genuine. Mia learned that Logan had been injured years ago in an accident that had left him with limited mobility. Yet, he spoke not of loss or bitterness, but of the small joys he found in everyday life, books, art, and quiet moments like this one. "What brought you here?" Logan asked, his eyes curious but kind. "I wanted to do something good," Mia said honestly. "Something that didn't involve pretending to be someone I'm not." Logan nodded thoughtfully. "I understand that." As the days passed, their conversations deepened. Mia discovered Logan's sharp intellect hidden behind his quiet demeanor. He had a quick wit and a perspective that challenged her, making her think in ways she hadn't before. Unlike the shallow, self-absorbed people she'd encountered in her past, Logan listened with genuine interest and spoke with honesty. One afternoon, as they shared coffee in the center's small café, Mia found herself laughing at one of Logan's dry jokes. It was the first time in a long while that laughter had felt natural. She realized then that Logan wasn't just someone to fill the silence, he was a person who could stand beside her, equal in every way that mattered. Despite the physical hardships Logan faced, his spirit seemed unbreakable. Mia admired his resilience and the kindness that radiated from him, not as pity, but as a quiet strength. He didn't seek sympathy or admiration, he simply lived with grace and dignity. Their friendship grew slowly, rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Mia began to see past the scars and the wheelchair to the man beneath, someone real, someone honest, someone worth knowing. And Logan, in turn, found in Mia a light that brightened the shadows of his world. In a life that had often felt shallow and cruel, their connection was a rare and beautiful thing. It was the beginning of something neither of them expected but both desperately needed, a bond that would soon transform not just their lives, but the way the world saw them both. As Mia left the community center that day, she felt a flicker of hope she hadn't known was possible. Meeting Logan wasn't just a chance encounter, it was the first step toward a new chapter, one where true strength was found not in appearances, but in the heart. Mia's world had already been shaken by heartbreak, but nothing prepared her for the relentless judgment that followed when she chose to stand by Logan. At work, whispers trailed behind her like shadows. Colleagues exchanged furtive glances whenever Logan's name surfaced. "You really think she's happy with him?" Someone muttered in the break room. "It's just a pity thing. She'll regret it." The office buzzed with quiet skepticism, as if Mia had betrayed an unspoken social contract by loving someone like Logan. Family gatherings became an arena for cold disapproval. At holiday dinners, Mia felt the weight of glances that didn't meet hers. Her mother's forced smiles barely concealed disappointment, and her relatives' thinly veiled questions sliced through the festive air. "Are you sure this is what you want?" her aunt asked, voice heavy with concern disguised as concern. "Don't you deserve better?" The words stung more than Mia cared to admit, yet she held her ground, refusing to let their doubts erode her resolve. Even strangers on the street seemed to weigh in on her choice. Passing conversations caught her attention, snippets of harsh judgment from passing pedestrians or loud-eyed cafe patrons. "Why waste your time with him? He's just broken," a voice hissed nearby one afternoon. The cruel labeling and sideways looks were exhausting, but Mia learned to meet them with a quiet dignity, refusing to shrink beneath their weight. But it wasn't just the harsh words that tested her. There were the more insidious moments, the subtle dismissals, the sideways glances when Logan arrived at social events in his wheelchair, the sudden silence when she mentioned him. Invitations dwindled, and old friends grew distant, unsure how to reconcile the woman they once knew with the reality of her new life. It felt like being slowly erased from a world that valued appearances above all else. Despite this, Mia's heart hardened, not with bitterness, but with determination. Each cruel word became a brick in the foundation of her strength. She saw Logan not as a burden or a charity case but as a partner, intelligent, kind, and fiercely resilient. Where others saw scars and limitations, Mia saw courage and depth. At work, she learned to face the whispered doubts with a steady gaze. When a coworker questioned her happiness, Mia would simply smile and say, "You don't know our story." At family events, she stood taller, deflecting pity with grace and reminding herself that love wasn't about meeting other people's expectations. Public places, once a minefield of judgment, became opportunities to demonstrate her pride in Logan and the life they built together. The journey wasn't easy. There were moments when the weight of societal scorn threatened to overwhelm her. Nights when the silence of her apartment felt heavy with loneliness, when doubt crept in like a shadow. But Logan's quiet strength was a balm. He never asked for sympathy, only respect. His unwavering belief in their bond fueled Mia's courage. Gradually, something began to shift. The sharp edges of mockery softened as those around them saw the genuine happiness between Mia and Logan. Even the most skeptical colleagues started to notice the glow that came from her newfound confidence. Family members, though slow to accept, began to ask questions not out of judgment but out of curiosity, tentatively seeking to understand. Through it all, Mia discovered a profound truth. The world's judgment was nothing compared to the power of love and resilience. In standing by Logan, she found her own voice, a voice strong enough to drown out the whispers, steady enough to withstand the stares. The road ahead remained uncertain, but Mia was ready. She no longer feared the world's gaze because she knew where her strength lay, not in the approval of others, but in the unshakable bond she shared with Logan. Together, they faced the world, not as victims of judgment, but as champions of a love that defied all odds. Mia and Logan's home was a small sanctuary tucked away from the noisy, judgmental world. It wasn't grand or lavish, just a modest apartment filled with warmth, laughter, and a sense of calm that both had longed for. The walls were lined with shelves overflowing with books, their worn spines a testament to countless late nights spent reading, dreaming, and learning together. Here, the outside world's harsh whispers couldn't reach them. Their days began with quiet routines that spoke volumes about the life they were building. Logan would brew coffee while Mia sketched in her notebook, capturing moments of their simple yet profound existence. Despite Logan's physical challenges, his spirit was unyielding, and his mind sharp as ever. He shared ideas with Mia. Plans for projects, philosophical musings, and stories from his past that revealed a resilience few could match. Mia listened, captivated by the depth of his intellect and the gentle strength beneath his quiet demeanor. Money was scarce, but it never felt like a shortage in their home. Instead, it was replaced by something far richer: connection, trust, and a deep, unspoken understanding. They supported each other in ways that transcended material wealth. When Mia doubted herself, Logan was there with encouragement. When Logan faced frustration, Mia's unwavering presence gave him comfort. Their love wasn't flashy or loud, it was steady, dependable, and profound. Evenings were their favorite time, when the world slowed down and their small space became a haven. They would cook together, sometimes clumsily, laughter filling the air as they navigated the kitchen. Later, they'd curl up with a shared book or listen to old records, the music weaving a tapestry of memories and dreams. Their bond deepened in these quiet moments, where words weren't always necessary. The scars on Logan's hands told stories of pain and survival, but Mia saw beyond them. She saw a man who refused to be defined by his past or limitations. His resilience inspired her every day. And Logan saw in Mia a light that brightened even the darkest times. A partner who chose him wholly, without hesitation or doubt. Their life together was a testament to what love truly meant. It wasn't about grand gestures or expensive gifts, it was about showing up for each other, day after day, in the smallest of ways. In a world that often judged them harshly, Mia and Logan found peace and strength in their shared quietness. Here, in their modest home filled with books, laughter, and dreams, they discovered a richness that no wealth could buy. A life built not on what the world valued, but on what truly mattered, a love that was steady, genuine, and unwavering. Together, they faced whatever came next, not as broken people, but as two souls united in quiet strength. Darren's life was a dazzling display of glamour and excess, meticulously curated for the world to see. Every morning, the glow of filtered sunlight seemed to bathe his luxurious penthouse, a backdrop for countless selfies with his new influencer mistress, Lila. Their social media feeds overflowed with images of exotic vacations, designer outfits, and lavish parties, each post a carefully crafted scene meant to impress and intimidate. On Instagram, Darren's account was a constant stream of curated perfection: champagne toasts on yacht decks, nights at exclusive clubs, and glamorous red carpet events where he posed alongside celebrities. Lila, with her flawless makeup and ever-changing wardrobe, was always by his side, laughing effortlessly in every photo. Their followers admired the seemingly perfect couple, envying the wealth and status that glittered in every frame. Yet behind the filters and bright lights, the picture was far less enviable. The flashy lifestyle was a performance, a mask worn to hide the emptiness beneath. Darren's smiles were often forced, his laughter hollow. The influencer, obsessed with maintaining her online image, spent hours on calls with brand managers and stylists, leaving little time for genuine connection. Their relationship was more about appearances than affection, a transactional partnership fueled by mutual benefit rather than love. While Darren flaunted luxury, the cracks in his world were growing. The pressure to keep up the facade was exhausting. Each lavish event and public appearance felt like a scene from a play where he was no longer sure of his role. He was trapped in a cycle of superficiality, where status was measured by followers and likes, not by meaningful moments. In contrast to the warmth and authenticity Mia and Logan found in their modest life, Darren's world was cold and isolating. His social media empire was a glittering cage, one that kept him distant from real emotion. Though he had everything money could buy, something vital was missing, a genuine connection, a sense of purpose beyond the surface. The dramatic irony was not lost on those who knew the truth behind the scenes. Friends who had watched Darren's downfall whispered among themselves, recognizing the hollowness beneath the spectacle. The glamorous posts, once sources of envy, began to ring hollow as cracks in the perfect image started to show. There were moments when the veneer slipped. A tired glance, a forced smile, and the reality peeked through. This world of illusion set the stage for a powerful reversal. While Darren chased fleeting status and empty approval, Mia and Logan built something real, something resilient and lasting. Their quiet strength stood in stark opposition to Darren's flashy, but fragile, existence. As the story unfolded, it became clear that appearances could deceive. The scumbag ex and his influencer mistress might have glittering lives online, but their happiness was shallow and unstable. Meanwhile, the couple they once mocked thrived in a love that no amount of money or followers could buy. Darren's new life was a dazzling spectacle on the surface, but beneath the glitter, it was a lonely and hollow world, one destined to crumble while true love quietly endured. The grand hall buzzed with anticipation, the air thick with excitement as hundreds of industry leaders, journalists, and influencers gathered for the highly anticipated keynote at the annual Global Tech Conference. The stage was set with sleek screens and shimmering lights, casting an electric glow over the expectant crowd. Whispers rippled through the audience, who would unveil the next big innovation? Who would claim the spotlight this year? As the lights dimmed, the host introduced the mysterious visionary behind the groundbreaking technology that had been shaking up the market for months. The tension was palpable, every eye fixed on the stage. Then, the spotlight hit the entrance, and in wheeled Logan, confident and composed, his scars visible but irrelevant beneath his commanding presence. The audience gasped collectively, stunned by the revelation. Logan, the man many had underestimated, the quiet figure many had overlooked, was the secret genius behind the revolutionary company that had just been valued as the world's most valuable tech enterprise. The whisper swelled into a roar of disbelief and admiration. Cameras flashed, capturing every stunned face. In the front row, Mia sat with her hands clasped tightly, her heart pounding. Her eyes shone with pride as she watched Logan take the stage, his calm smile radiating a quiet strength that silenced any lingering doubts. She had believed in him when no one else did, and now the world was finally seeing what she had always known. Logan's intellect, resilience, and vision had transformed not only their lives but the future of technology itself. Across the room, Darren and his influencer mistress, Lila, stood frozen. Their previously smug expressions faltered, twisting into disbelief and horror. For months, Darren had flaunted his superficial success, mocking Mia's choices and dismissing Logan as insignificant. Now, faced with the undeniable truth of Logan's staggering achievement, their confidence crumbled. Lila's perfectly curated smile faded, replaced by a stunned silence. Darren's jaw tightened as he realized his world, built on shallow appearances, was unraveling before his eyes. Logan's speech was both humble and powerful. He spoke not of wealth or fame but of perseverance, innovation, and the power of belief. He credited his team, but his eyes never left Mia's, silently acknowledging the unwavering support that had sustained him through the darkest times. The audience, once skeptical, now erupted into applause that echoed through the hall. Reporters scrambled to capture interviews, and social media exploded with headlines celebrating the rise of an unexpected titan. Logan wasn't just the world's richest man. He was a symbol of triumph over adversity, a beacon of hope for those overlooked and underestimated. As the conference ended, Mia and Logan stepped off the stage together, hand in hand, ready to face a new chapter. The shockwaves of the announcement would ripple far beyond the tech world, dismantling old prejudices and reshaping perceptions. Meanwhile, Darren and Lila retreated into the shadows, their glamorous facade shattered. The world had seen the truth, and it was clear. Real success wasn't measured by appearances, but by strength, character, and the courage to defy expectations. After the electrifying announcement, the room was charged with energy, an overwhelming mix of admiration, surprise, and newfound respect. Logan stood beside Mia, his eyes never leaving hers. The moment was far bigger than wealth or fame, it was about everything they had endured together, the whispered doubts, the harsh judgments, and the quiet strength that had brought them here. Then, without hesitation, Logan lowered himself to one knee right there on the grand stage. The spotlight bathed them in a warm glow as he held out a simple, elegant ring, a symbol of promises made and a future built on unshakable trust. His voice, steady and filled with emotion, echoed through the hall as he spoke. "Mia, you stood by me when no one else would. Your love gave me strength when I had none. Will you marry me?" The audience erupted into cheers and applause. Cameras flashed wildly, capturing the unforgettable scene, Logan's vulnerability, Mia's tears of joy, and the powerful connection that radiated between them. In that moment, all the years of struggle and pain melted away, replaced by a profound celebration of love and resilience. Mia, her heart full, nodded with a radiant smile and whispered, "Yes." She reached out, slipping the ring onto her finger, sealing their promise in front of the world. It was more than a proposal. It was a victory over every sneer and every cruel word that had once threatened to tear them apart. From across the room, Darren and his influencer mistress, Lila, stood frozen, shock and fury flashing across their faces. Their arrogance crumbled in the face of this beautiful triumph. They had mocked Mia for choosing Logan, branding him a worthless cripple, but now, their shallow world was shattered by the undeniable power of love and loyalty. The crowd's cheers swelled as Logan and Mia rose hand in hand, basking in the glow of their shared triumph. Reporters clamored to capture their story, eager to tell a tale not of riches or status, but of perseverance, integrity, and the courage to love without apology. As the celebration continued, Mia's smile never faded. It was a smile that spoke of strength reclaimed and dignity restored. She had survived the judgment, the mockery, and the heartbreak. She had found a love that was steadfast and true, a love that lifted her beyond the petty cruelties of the world. Their story became a beacon for those who had been underestimated or dismissed, proving that true wealth lies not in material possessions but in the depth of human connection. Mia and Logan's journey was a testament to the power of loyalty and the triumph of the human spirit. In that shining moment on the stage, surrounded by cheers and the glow of countless cameras, they showed the world that love, loyalty, and perseverance will always conquer cruelty and mockery. Their victory was not just theirs alone, it belonged to everyone who dared to believe in something real, beyond appearances and expectations. And as they embraced, the future stretched out before them, bright, unshakable, and filled with promise. If you enjoyed the story, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.